This is Alice Bailey. So I've shared with you a concise perspective of my experience with regards to and within relationships and agreements. Yet there is much more to relationships and agreements that I will be specifically going into and describing, so that you for yourself will be able to determine the self-dishonesty within the accepted and allowed nature of relationship within yourself, and your self-honest self-expression within agreement. Alright. Relationships. The primary constructs of which relationships exist is within two minds, as two beings defined through and as their mind that relate to each other. So, the relationship geometry is as follows. You have two beings. Now, the first point of the relationship geometrical design is two minds that relate with each other. That point where two beings spend time with each other, and suddenly there's an interest that spark, a particular liking, and the more you communicate and spend time together, the experience is as though something is growing within you both. Now, within the relationship geometrical construct design, there exists a geometrical design. So it's a geometrical design within a geometrical design. As I continue, you'll see for yourself. So, it starts with two minds relating. Then, the next point is a liking that comes up as a flowering or an excitement. Within the liking, an opportunity opens up where both beings see, hey, there may be something here, because I'm suddenly experiencing myself in a certain way towards you, and this must mean you're something. And in seeing the opportunity, the two start exploring what they are experiencing inside themselves. And in this exploring, a curiosity ignites. A curiosity toward each other and towards what each other is experiencing within themselves while in each other's company. And within those 3 points connecting, a desire manifests within both. Once the desire manifests within both beings, this activates the third point of the relationship geometrical design, because the desire point is the second point of the relationship geometrical design. So it starts with two minds relating, and then the geometrical design of liking, opportunity, curiosity within both that manifest together, which create the manifested experience of desire. This manifested experience of desire activate the second point of the relationship geometrical design, which is desire, which is actually, in essence, the desire for sex. And this desire within both start really growing as physical attraction is experienced, as though the two cannot stay away from each other. When they are away from each other, they start missing each other's presence, as though they have brought life into each other. And the moment they're apart, the experience of having to be together again, to touch, to feel each other, to speak to each other, to look each other in the eyes, becomes great. Now, the moment the two verbally or physically through the act of sex decide to be in relationship with each other based on what they have experienced within themselves as the ignition of emotions and feelings and thoughts, they create and manifest the relationship entity, which is a separate manifested design outside and between each other. Now they are possessed, literally possessed by this relationship entity, because it started off the triangle within both, which was minds relating, which connected. Then it was the desire point activating through the liking, the opportunity, and the curiosity geometrical design. Then the desire was actually, in essence, the desire for sex, which connected two triangles within both beings. And then when they both acted upon this desire for sex, they manifested and connected to a point of relationship. And this relationship is the manifested experience of themselves within their mind, where they charge and recharge this relationship entity through constantly and continuously communicating with each other and spending time with each other, because their minds are relating. The more they spend time together, the more they communicate, they charge the desire for sex. And then once they act upon the desire for sex, the whole cycle recontinues within their possession of themselves within the relationship entity. Because after they've had sex, their minds relate again, they charge up the energy of the desire for sex, they have sex, and then they start again. But interestingly enough, relationships, as the relationship manifested entity by which beings become literally possessed, because all that exists is this relationship, is this other being. Everything of yourself is given towards the relationship. And what occurs, as I've said, this relationship entity design by which both become possessed exists on energy. Because first two minds have to relate, and then charge up the desire for sex, and then have sex, and then the minds have to relate again, and then charge up the desire for sex, and then it so continues, but eventually the energy runs out. Because now, later on, it becomes hard work for the two to relate to each other, for the two to get to that point of having to charge themselves up, to get to the point of forcing themselves to have sex. And that's when the relationship ends. And the being moves on to another mind to which they can relate. Because if there's another mind to relate with, this changes from a certain perspective, because now they can start over. Now, during the time of the end and the beginning of the new relationship, the mind consciousness system within the being had time to recharge and rejuvenate itself, to be now introduced to new energy within a new relationship. And so the cycles of relationship continue. All it does is charge and support the mind. Thank you very much. In our next interview, we'll start with agreements.